Yeah, I know it's hard to believe, but even though I've produced hundreds of videos about TV shows from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, this is my very first video about Petticoat Junction. Not sure why it took me so long to get around to it. Growing up, I enjoyed watching the show the same way that I enjoyed Andy Griffith. Each episode magically transported me back to a simpler time. Petticoat Junction is a wonderful program that deserves to be recognized as a timeless classic. So you can only imagine how shocked I was to read this article in the Orange County Register a while back that basically stated that the only thing really great about Petticoat Junction was the theme song. Yep, the title of Michael Hewitt's article states, "It's all downhill from there." Well, to Mr. Hewitt, who says that Petticoat Junction was at its best just mildly amusing, I say that I wholeheartedly disagree, and to make my point as to why the show is actually a timeless classic, I have prepared a list of 5 reasons why we should all be going back and spending time at the Shady Rest Hotel with Uncle Joe, Kate, and her daughters. But before I start with my list, let me just quickly cover the basics. Petticoat Junction is an American sitcom that originally aired for 7 seasons on CBS from September 1963 until April 1970. The series takes place at the Shady Rest Hotel, which is run by Kate Bradley, as well as her 3 daughters, Billy Jo, Bobby Jo, and Betty Jo, and her uncle Joe Carson. Nothing much happens around the hotel, so it's up to the girls to come up with their own ways to have fun, one of which is to go for a swim in the nearby large water tower. I mention that because the water tower with the girls' petticoats draped over the edge was part of the show's opening sequence and was at least partially the inspiration for the show's title. Okay, so with that out of the way, my first reason why Petticoat Junction was so darn special is because the show is part of an extended universe that was created by Paul Henning. While many of the ideas for the show came from Paul's wife and her childhood memories of growing up in Missouri, Mr. Henning found a way to create his own unique world inhabited by wonderful and wacky, kind and caring people. It all started with the Beverly Hillbillies. Of course, that show was a huge hit, and the network executives at CBS were begging Paul to come up with more rural-themed programming. Petticoat Junction was Henning's response to that request. And although not created by Henning, Green Acres, starring Eddie Albert and Eva Gabor, was a spin-off of sorts from Petticoat Junction. Appearing on all 3 programs was Sam Drucker, portrayed by actor Frank Cady. Drucker owns a general store in the fictional community of Hooterville, which not only played a role in both Petticoat Junction and Green Acres, but also was seen on the Beverly Hillbillies as well. My second reason why Petticoat Junction is must-watch television are these lovely ladies. Yep, the Bradley girls. Over the course of the show's run, Kate's 3 daughters were played by 6 different actresses. Only Linda Kay, who was actually Paul Henning's daughter and played Betty Jo, stuck around for all 7 seasons. So this is probably my favorite lineup of the daughters. Here you've got Laurie Saunders, Linda Kay, and Meredith McCrae as Bobby Jo, Betty Jo, and Billy Jo, respectively. One interesting casting note is that actress Sharon Tate was actually supposed to play Billy Jo and even posed for some of the show's promotional photos. However, before filming commenced on the first episode, the decision was made to replace Tate with Janine Riley. Alright, moving on to reason number 3. How can I not mention the music? Much like the Andy Griffith Show, Petticoat Junction would often incorporate music into its episodes. Although Flatt and Scruggs did not sing the version of the theme song that appeared on the show each week, they did help propel their own version of it onto the music charts. Their version went all the way to number 14 on the pop charts in 1964 here in the United States. Additionally, the girls from Petticoat Junction, yep, we're talking about my favorite lineup, had 2 singles of their own, I'm So Glad That You Found Me and Wheeling, West Virginia. My next reason, while not my last, is probably the most important one, and that's this wonderful lady, the great Bea Benaderet. Petticoat Junction was created by Paul Henning with Benaderet specifically in mind. She had made many appearances on the Beverly Hillbillies, and before that, she had developed a reputation within the entertainment industry as a hardworking, extremely reliable, and highly skilled actress. She was truly a woman of many talents. Benaderet's Kate Bradley is one of my favorite characters ever on television. A strong woman who is loving and protective to her 3 daughters. She is kind and gracious to weary travelers, and while Uncle Joe likes to think that he's taking care of Kate, it is more often than not the other way around. Plus, Benaderet was also the voice of Betty Rubble on the Flintstones. Yeah, I know that has nothing to do with Petticoat Junction, but it's still cool and worth mentioning. When Benaderet was diagnosed with lung cancer during the 3rd season, she took time off and missed a handful of episodes. However, when she left the show during season 5, that's when it became apparent to everyone involved with the show that she most likely wasn't coming back. Bea Benaderet passed away in the fall of 1968. It was heartbreaking to everyone involved in the show, and for fans, then as well as now, well, there was one less reason to watch Petticoat Junction from that point on. During seasons 6 and 7, June Lockhart, freshly returned to the planet Earth from her gig on Lost in Space, did her best to fill the void left behind by Benaderet. Lockhart played a new character, Dr. Janet Craig, who became a friend and informal counselor to the girls. June was just fine on the show. From everything that I've read, the cast members welcomed Lockhart with open arms, and everyone did their very best to soldier on. But I've got to say, the loss of Benaderet was big. Okay, so I've got one more reason why Petticoat Junction is a timeless classic, and it's a simple one. You see, the show is like a warm blanket, or maybe even better said, like a big plate of comfort food. You can fire it up on your laptop, and for 30 minutes or so, you just feel good. There are only a handful of shows that do that for me. Andy Griffith, Leave It to Beaver, and this one, Petticoat Junction. And because the first season has now fallen into the public domain, it's super easy to find good quality versions of those episodes on YouTube. Yep, on demand, free of charge, on your laptop, day and night. So I didn't even talk about the Sierra No. 3 locomotive that is the train used in Petticoat Junction. But if you're a fan of trains at all, that's reason number 6 to watch the show. That particular train has been used in all sorts of movies and TV shows over the years, including one of my favorites, the good old Back to the Future series. Okay, that's all I have. I think I'll end this one with that iconic water tower scene from the opening sequence of the show. You know, I hope that wasn't supposed to be the inn's drinking water. I'd also like to thank YouTuber Mike9657, who is the producer of this actual video, due to his generous support through Super Chat during my most recent live stream event. I'd also like to thank my Patreon supporters, Darian Sil Evans, and yep, a guy who chooses to be known only as Dave. Alright, please share your memories in the comments section of this video, and if you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane, please give it a thumbs up. That's how I will know if I should make more videos like this one. Also, I would be honored if you would consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I talk about music, movies, and television, mostly from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.